Good afternoon from Los Angeles and welcome to Stock Market Today, sponsored by Interactive Brokers. On the show, we're going to be taking a look at Wendy's, Ulta Beauty, as well as Applied Materials. But first, let's break down the ever important action of the major indexes. It's Alyssa Corum here with Ken Shreve. And Ken, we saw the major indexes get very hardly hit today with the Nasdaq and Dow down about 3% into the close. Some selling here, extra selling here in the final minutes, with that inverted yield curve really spooking the markets. And we definitely have a bit of a case of whiplash after what we saw yesterday.
Yeah, it was a pretty rough day for stocks today. We did get a sign of strength in the Nasdaq and the S&P 500 yesterday. Good follow-through day for the Nasdaq. But you can see the index is still getting resistance at its 50-day moving average. And I know you and Justin provided some perspective on the follow-through day yesterday, and still reasons to be cautious. But the inverted yield curve is certainly on investors' mind, and is the U.S. economy headed for a recession? But it was a very difficult volume comparison. We had heavy volume yesterday in the market, and look, for a while volume was tracking lower, but it looks like we're going to get higher volume even today. So institutional investors are selling stock, and 3% declines, just kind of a rough day all around.
Right, and this is exactly why you don't want to be going all in right at that follow-through day. And just a reminder, Justin and I did mention that we did have two failed follow-through days in the fourth quarter, and especially now the market is very sensitive to a lot of these headlines, the positive ones and the negative ones.
They're everywhere. Negative headlines about China trade war. I mean, we really haven't even been talking about the Fed lately,
right.
But we have another Fed meeting coming up in September, and what the outlook for interest rates is. So just a lot of uncertainty in the market right now. That's typically a very difficult environment for stocks to make headway, and a lot of carnage in the market today. So again, favoring cash here is still a good idea, and kind of sitting the selling out.
That's right. Well, we will keep an eye on some of those factors for you to determine the market's direction. But let's take a look at a few individual names, starting with Wendy's, which is showing some nice relative strength here, Ken, after recently gaining strongly on its quarterly earnings report. That relative strength line is moving higher, so kind of bucking this downtrend here.
Yeah, Restaurant Group continues to be a nice pocket of leadership. We've had Chipotle on leaderboard for a while now, and other names like Shake Shack performing well. So Wendy's really nice earnings report last week, better than expected earnings, and also better than expected same-store sales growth. So like that the stock is holding on to very bullish gains seen last week. So it is an example of a stock, one of the few stocks that I've traded higher today. So it's a decent looking chart, but I think if you've been investing for any amount of time, and when you're in a market that is acting the way it is now, it's very difficult even for healthy charts to
right.
make headway. So even though Wendy's is acting well, showing resilience, whether or not it's going to be able to make meaningful headway from here with the market acting the way it is remains to be seen. But good looking stock in a weak market right now.
That's right. Very important to keep your watch list fresh with these stocks that are holding up and showing strength.
Yeah, and again, the Restaurant Group continues to look pretty good with a lot of strong performing stocks.
That's right. And now let's pivot our attention to Ulta Beauty, which dropped about 6% in above average turnover today, and it is now testing a long-term support level, that 200-day line. What do you make of the chart action here for Ulta? It could be coming to a crossroads here at that 200-day.
Well, there's a lot of stocks at this point that are kind of testing longer-term support levels. Retail stocks weak across the board today. We've got investors worried about a recession and slowing economic growth. It makes sense that retailers are going to be among the hardest hit. We also had weak earnings from Macy's, which weighed on department store operators today. But Ulta Beauty, it's kind of do or die time. At last check, the stock was trading around 320. The 200-day moving average around I think it was
just under 320.
320, yeah. So 318, I think, is the 200-day moving average. So we'll see if it can hold support. It's a strong performing retail leader, but under a lot of selling pressure. We'll see if it can find support.
something that we will keep an eye on. And now let's take a look at Applied Materials, which dropped about 2.8% today ahead of its quarterly earnings report. And Wall Street is betting on a turnaround here, but investors should definitely still keep these broader headwinds in mind.
Yeah, I mean, Applied Materials is still holding above a 45.85 buy point. A lot of stocks can't really say that right now, and we're going to see earnings from Applied Materials after the close Thursday. So kind of an interesting turnaround story going on here. Results for the current quarter expected to decline again from the year ago period, but earnings expected to ramp back up in fiscal 2020. So, talking about a lot of new markets for Applied Materials, automotive technology, cloud data centers, artificial intelligence. So they're talking about, future growth looking pretty good. Market seems to be agreeing. We'll see what the results look like tomorrow.
Yeah, and in better market conditions, a strong rebound off of that 50-day line could be potentially a chance to get it in for aggressive investors. But market conditions make it hard to think about making new buys at the moment.
Yeah, no question about it. And we'll see what the numbers look like from Applied Materials, and the fact that it's holding above a buy point and its 50-day moving average. Obviously, the market is expecting to hear good things from the company tomorrow.
All right. Well, that is it for today. But before we go, just in case you missed it, we do have a new episode of our investing strategy show out now. So you can head to investors.com/investing strategies for that. We spoke to a market technician about the technical indicators that she looks at to determine market direction. So that's especially key this week. And we also take a look at how to determine sector leadership. The software sector has been one of the leading groups this year, so we are zeroing in on that. All right, everyone, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you right back here tomorrow.